What's up, guys? O-Dog 5.7 here. So I'm definitely not a professional YouTuber. I'm just starting this. I'm hoping that I get people on here that are starting to buy these first gen Hemis. They're personally my favorites, even though they're not nearly as high tech as all the new ones. But I'm hoping there'll start to be some interest in some of these guys. Um, I know there's guys out there like RT Life. He kind of pioneered the modifications for the RT Hemi as everybody's doing the Scat Packs and the Hellcats and whatnot. I really don't see a lot of people doing a lot of mods to the Scat Packs though. You know, to me, those cars, a lot of people, they buy them, they'll put an exhaust system on it to make it sound better. Very few of them will go out and spend the money and start doing like major mods to see what the car can really push to do. And everything that I've read on those cars tell me that they're so well tuned at the factory, they're not getting a lot more out of them. And I kind of feel the opposite about this motor. You know, when I look at all the RAM channels and all the other people that have been doing mods to the 5.7s over the years before they were even put in the Chargers, they're getting big gains out of them. So I kind of I like this body style better. I think I've said that before in my other videos. So I really just want to see what I can do with this car, see how well I can get it to go. The car in general is a couple hundred pounds lighter than the newer Chargers. It's pretty on par with the newer Challenger weighted cars. So I'm just going to see what I can do. So as mentioned in my previous videos, I added a cold air intake, and it's not one of those intakes that just have a hole in the top with a big filter that just sucks all the hot air into it. It's called a volant intake. It's actually sealed from the heat. It's got a hole towards the front so it gets the cool air coming in, and it's actually got a pipe that goes down to the fresh air on the bottom of the car to suck it in. So it's one of the few what I feel totally true cold air intakes for the car. And on top of that, eventually I'm going to get a hood that's an SRT type hood that will have a vent going to the airbox, because this airbox comes with a removable top, so you can put that hood on it and it'll work the same way it would as an SRT model. But that's down the road. First, there's still a few things I'm going to do. Before I start to do any actual motor work, I'm going to do as many bolt-ons as I can and try and get as much out of the car I can before actually digging into the motor. And when I say that, ultimately my intention is to have the heads removed and either new heads or work the heads that I have a new cam, new intake. I know intake choices are limited, and I know a lot of you people frown on the Edelbrock intake, but I will say this. The Edelbrock intake, from what I've read, it's designed for higher RPM motors. It's designed for big cams, big heads. So I think people are disappointed because they keep bolting them onto their stock vehicles. They're seeing power losses because their motors are just not set up for a big intake. So it's kind of like putting a 95 millimeter throttle body on your stock motor. What's the point of it? I see a lot of guys putting cams in their car, and I don't get that. It's like, if you're going to put a cam in your car, you're taking the heads off of the car anyway. I mean, old school thinking is you make most of your power in your heads. Why wouldn't you work your heads? So I'm definitely not going to put a cam in my car without touching the heads as well. But that's far down the road from now. So after my cold air intake, I just put the Trinity Diablo Sport tuner in here. You can see it. I have it mounted right up top. Where is it? There it is. Right there. I could tell you, I was surprised. This is the first time I've been in a car in years, where I've started like doing stuff to the car. Back in the day when I had my IROCs and my Mustangs, you know, you put a chip in the car and you're done. That's all you can do. There's no tuning it. It just really wasn't that big of a deal. They weren't really worth the money. What I like about the tuners now, I mean, this thing is great. So I drive. I haven't made a video for a while because I've been transferred to another store. My store is like 90 miles from my house. So I'm only home on the weekends, and I just really don't have the time. What's great about this tuner is I can switch that to a miles per gallon tune on the car that actually gets me 2 to 3 miles per gallon better, which is tremendous in a car like this. It's the difference of spending, you know, $12 going to work the whole way there, or $17. It may seem minuscule, but when you're doing that twice a week each way, it adds up. Trust me. Um, when I did the tune in the car, when I first did the tune, I still had 89 octane gas in my car, so I did the cold air induction tune, and I was kind of disappointed. I really didn't feel like it did much of anything at all. Then when I cleared out the gas tank and put the 93 octane in there and I did the Diablo tune, it woke the car up quite a bit. Then I was impressed. It was a pretty good difference. So I started doing a little more research. Hemi Fever, Diablo Tuna, there's a Jay Green. There's a lot of guys out there that are doing tunes for these cars, email tunes. You know, I live in just north of Tampa, Florida, and there's not any reputable Hemi tuners down here that I'm aware of. Please, if anybody knows of any, please shoot me a message or comment on my video, because I'm willing to try anybody before I do an email tune. But as of right now, it's probably going to be either Hemi Fever or Diablo Tuna. Those two seem to be the two that the most people go to for email tunes. And I'll report back and see how that goes. You know, I'm hearing a bigger difference from that than even the canned tune that Diablo sends. So I guess until then, this will be my video for now. Like I said, I'm still new at this. Hopefully my videos will get a little more exciting. I mean, it's just a tuner, so I don't really think you guys want to see me just driving up and down the street, and you haven't been in the car, so you don't know what kind of difference it'll make. I don't want to bore you guys with silly stuff. What's next for the car is, so I'm trying to negotiate with a dealership online. They have a set of new old stock headers. It's full headers, long tube headers with high flow cats. It's an original Mopar part that was made for this car, and it was only made for 2 years. 3. 06, 07, 08 model years. It'll fit the heads on it. Originally priced at like $1,600, somewhere around there, and I'm trying to get them off of them for $600. We're like in the middle of negotiating, and we've narrowed it down to like a $50 price. The only part that's hurting me is they want to charge me like $200 in shipping. So if they could be a little bit more reasonable on shipping, I'm going to grab those headers, and then I'll probably put, well, not probably, I'm a Flowmaster guy. I've loved Flowmasters from the 80s, so I'll end up getting some Flowmaster 40s with a 3-inch all the way back out, and we'll see what that does to the car. After that, I'm probably going to do some little things, like I'll probably throw an 85mm throttle body on there. Probably throw a MSD ignition module in there. I know a lot of people will say they're not worth the money. You don't need them. 1,000 horsepower Hellcats and Demons run with stock ignition coils. Yeah, but maybe if they had MSDs in them, they'd do 1,015 horsepower. The whole idea is, you know, I want to try and wring every possible horsepower I can out of this car before I start digging into the motor. And if that means I waste a couple of $100 trying something, I don't care, because everything I research on the ignition boxes and the coil packs. So I've seen a couple of people that actually did dyno testing on them between the MSDs and the Sultan of something or other. I've never heard of them before, but they're all like showing a 2% gain in horsepower. It was a couple of guys with a 500 horsepower motor showing 511 horsepower after the coil packs were installed. To me, that's worth it. Why wouldn't you want to get a cleaner burn? Why wouldn't you want to get every last ounce of power you can out of the car? Isn't that the whole idea? I mean, that's just always been my thought process, you know. And then on top of all that, you can't, when you're modding these cars, you can't really think of what one single part is going to do. I mean, when you're modding these cars, you want to think of what the whole package is going to do when it's all together. You know, I mean, hell, these manufacturers, they say a cold air intake will give you 15 horsepower. That's bullshit. It's not going to give you 15 horsepower. What they mean to say is when it's under optimal conditions and you have a motor that's pushing the most it can possibly push on a race engine where they probably tested it, compared to a stock intake to their intake, it probably got that much horsepower. Doesn't mean a stock motor straight out of the factory is going to give you 14 or 15 horsepower. more than likely it's going to give you about 2 horsepower and a little bit more of a whistle. But as I said, as you increase the airflow of the motor, all those parts together will start to add up. You know, it's not, building motors to me is not brain surgery. You get the air in and you get the air out as fast as you possibly can. You know, gearing is a big issue. This car comes with a 286 rear end, I believe, which is absolutely anemic. I would literally have to put out 500 horsepower just to even touch the mid to low 13s with this gearing in the car. So gears will be on the horizon as well. I'll probably go to a 373 gear. Yes, I know it'll destroy my gas mileage, not as much as people say, but that 2 to 3 miles per gallon that I gain with that tune, I'll probably lose it with the gears. I'm okay with that. Like I said, I want to get every bit I can out of this car before I start touching the motor and see what this car can actually do. My biggest hopes is to see other people starting to purchase these Gen 1 Hemis. You know, I've seen RTs going for as little as $5 grand, $6 grand with, you know, clean models, clean motors. A lot of these younger guys are going to start picking these up and making budget racers out of them. So hopefully I'll get some people on here. I see I got 14 views on one of my videos. Hopefully I'll get some more views as they're going. I'm not looking to be a professional YouTuber. I just want to help people out and let people share what I'm trying to do with my car. You know, I know that's how a lot of other guys started out, like RT Life. I mean, he's pioneered the RT mods, but I promise you that's not what I'm looking to do. I'm just a family guy. I work 60, 70 hours a week. I'm never going to be one of these YouTuber guys driving around with a McLaren and have my Hellcat and everything else. I'm just a regular guy, works hard for a living. I'm not a millionaire, so it's going to take me a little while to build this car up, but hopefully it'll attract interest, and be nice to have an old school RT dipping down into the 12 seconds, maybe even touching 11s after everything's done, and I attach maybe, who knows, a 150 shot of nitrous. I've always loved nitrous, and we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching, guys. If you're interested in seeing this, just hit the subscribe button and just like the video for me. Thanks.